Hey, this is Matt, co-founder of Universal. I'm here with Ryan. We've done several other videos following Ryan's journey. He most recently got his BEC score back, and guess what? He got a 97%. So that means that his cumulative average across all four sections is above that 95.5% threshold. So Ryan's eligible for the Elijah Watt Sells Award. So first off, congratulations, Ryan. I think we'd all love to hear about your timeline, what review courses you used. If you've got 3 tips, that would be great to hear as well as any other tips. And then we'll get you on your way with your career.
Sounds good. Yeah, so my timeline, I started on May 1st or May 2nd. I don't remember exactly, but beginning of May, and just went in for reg, 3 weeks for reg, 3 or 4 weeks for FAR, 2 or 3 weeks for odd, and then 2 weeks for BEC. So it was exactly from the start of May to the end of July, and that was my time frame. So definitely crunched. As I've talked about in previous videos, I had a nice setup where I was able to spend 8 hours a day, 6 days a week on the CPA, and that really worked well for me. So different review materials. I started by trying out the different free trials. I don't have a firm paying for me, so I was trying to do it on my student budget, and that's really where I found Universal, because the cost side of Universal is just very excessive. So I used Universal, and then I also supplemented with the Gleim test bank just to kind of take the mental maps and then make sure that I had those as a solid basis. So
yeah, it's great to see extra questions, just different explanations once you understand the material. I mean, yeah, once you get to that point of solid understanding, then you start to work out to see, okay, is this knowledge transferable to stuff I haven't seen before? So it's good to use. I always like to say too, it's good to use more than one resource. I mean, I think a lot of candidates think, okay, this is it. I only need this one resource. But the reality is whether it's another review course you pay for, whether it's YouTube, there's a lot of free resources. I mean, the Universal course, a lot of students do use it as a supplement, but it's great to hear that you found it to be comprehensive to use, as your main course.
Right. And I will also add, I failed to mention this. I also used so with the Missouri CPA, which is where they have some free practice exams through Surgent, and so I used some Surgent materials as well, just to the last week or so, just to make sure I could do a practice exam and get that score. So those 3 materials. And yeah, like you said, I think definitely though, my approach was get the content down, get those mental maps down with Universal, and then just make sure that I got it by looking at different questions worded in the different ways that Gleim and Surgeon. But
yeah, so overall your timeline, because a lot of students ask us as well, what's the appropriate path, or what's the best path to take these exams in? And you went reg, you started and got a 99. Basically, from what it sounds like, that was just something you felt comfortable with. It's one that's good to start with because it's so unlike the other ones. It's either first or last, or it can be in between. And then you did what most students do and go to FAR and then audit, which is something I always recommend, because how can you audit financial statements if you don't understand financial statements? And then you finished off with BEC, and a lot of BEC talk or chatter is around how easy it is, and while it has a higher pass rate, it can be sneaky different. Now you got a 97, but you probably saw that there's a lot of different topics, and it's not one where you can focus in on anything specific.
No, I mean, it's just so broad. And I saw that you go in, you're expecting certain topics. They're not even on the test. You're not expecting too many other topics, and that's what the whole test is about. So it's just like business, right? You kind of have to be ready for anything. You might be at a business lunch and they're just going to be talking about this random topic. They look to you as representing the profession. So I think it's a good thing that they do it, but it is sneaky. And I will also remind candidates that the AICPA said, hey, anything's fair game on the essay portion for many of the other tests. So that's why I was glad to do BEC last, so that I, had that background.
Yeah, and that's so much of I think BEC in general. It's so much, the way I boil it down to like one simple sentence that explains BEC is, you think about operating a business, you want to maximize shareholder value, but also minimize risk. And that's
Yeah.
every aspect of BEC comes back to that. You start off early on talking about how do you measure returns and profitability, and then you work through cost accounting and how to be efficient with resources. You talk about economics and IT. Well, those are around minimizing risk, so there's no major surprises or fraud and hacks. So that's how I boil it down, BEC. But it is so much of needing to take everything else and sort of as a business owner, you have to be able to understand everything and run it efficiently, but also as risk-free as possible.
Yeah, no, that's a great way to look at it. And we've talked about this on audit. Could you explain it to your partner for BEC?
Mhm.
Could you explain it to the small business that you're trying
exactly.
to advise? Yeah.
So 3 tips, obviously with the scores above 95.5%, there's, obviously some level of tips that I think people would be great to hear. So if you have 3 tips, that'd be great to hear for, everybody.
Right. Yeah. So number one is just to give the broader perspective, because it's real. The burnout is real. You're in the trenches. You're like, why is this test so hard? Why do they have to make it so hard? And I think understanding kind of where the profession is and understanding that's where the value of the CPA comes from is because it is so hard. And we understand that. So number one, having that broader perspective of just why am I doing this? Why is it important to me? Looking back on your accounting education, reviewing those notes, and then understanding that, hey, I am prepared. I'm ready. I put in the work. I've gotten to this point for a reason. And this is why I want to do what I'm doing. And so having that in mind, then number 2 is to definitely have a solid routine. Put the distractions away. Don't have email up. Don't have text messages up. I mean, this is just basic study skills, right? But definitely have a routine. Okay, I'm just going to spend this 2 hours or this hour of solid devoted practice, quality, not quantity. That definitely benefited me. Like I said, put the phone in the other room, said, hey guys, I'll see you in 3 months. It just drilled down, and that was helpful for sure. And then number 3 is just have a heart full of gratitude. I definitely could not come, as they say down south, when you see a turtle sitting on a fence post, he didn't get there by himself, right? So definitely my professors all along the way helping me. As a believer, the man upstairs definitely helping me. And of course, Universal was a huge blessing in my life. So I think, this kind of goes to number 1, but just having that heart full of gratitude and being, hey, I have this opportunity ahead of me, and kind of reframing it, because it is, especially by the time you get to number 4, it's so easy to get negative and be like, I'm so done. I'm so done. But approaching it with gratitude really helped me as well.
No, I think that just taking a step back from it all and just saying, you're fortunate enough to even be eligible for the CPA exam.
Right. Yeah.
And what I always say is look, you will never know if you're going to pass or fail if you don't even go sit for it. I've actually recently got onto listening this. There was a speech that Denzel Washington gave many years ago, and he talks about how it's okay to fail, and as long as you fail forward, meaning as long as you put your best effort forward, and you go out there and try and learn from it, even if you fail, then you're going to be better off, because you'd be surprised how many candidates go through all the time and effort to get registered and purchase the course and study, and they just can't get over that hump of what if I fail? And I think the reality is you just have to push forward and use those little pockets each day. I mean, you're fortunate enough to not be working full time, but if you are working full time and you have a family, take advantage of those little pockets of time and use them efficiently, rather than finding all these reasons as to why you're not going to feel ready, because that just sucks up your time, and all of a sudden you haven't made any progress. Rather than, if you're okay with failing, just keep doing what you're doing, have a test date that's reasonable and achievable to get ready by, and just go do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sounds easier said than done, but I mean, there's some truth to that in anything. I mean, there's, you talk about distractions. That's a main reason people never even get to the point of being able to, attack their dreams, because they've got too many other distractions in life. And unfortunately, the CPA exam does require so much effort and time that if you're unable to control your schedule, then you're just never going to get there. So
Right.
I'm
Right.
glad that you said that, because that is probably the one biggest tip, aside from knowing the information, is just finding a study routine and a schedule that you can stick to, because that alone will make it really hard to ever succeed at anything.
Yeah. Yeah, no. And actually one quote from Joey changed my life when I was studying BEC. And it was that quote from Thomas Sowell. He brings it up that in economics, there are no solutions, only trade-offs. And that definitely, kind of looking back, there are no easy ways to the CPA, only trade-offs. It's unfortunate for a variety of reasons, right? There's a lot of priorities you can be doing in life. But for whatever reason, if you've chosen this as your priority, realize the trade-offs, be happy with it, be grateful for it,
Yep.
go all in, and learn from it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's something you'll take with you forever. I think there's this misconception too that the CPA license is all about, being a tax professional, doing tax returns or doing bookkeeping. But look where the profession's going. It's all about using tools that basically process all this information for you, but they're still tools at the end of the day. So being able to interpret this as a CPA, as a professional opinion, that's the real value of the license. And it's going to, unfortunately, create a bigger gap between those that have the license and those that don't. And so now's the time to go get it. Now's the time to say, okay, well, where do I want to be 5 years from now? Do I want to still be in the same role and be leapfrogged by, somebody that's 5 years younger that does have the license? It's a harsh reality, but that is the reality. And I've seen it way too much in my 10 to 12 year career since I took the exam. And it's unfortunate to see, but like I said, it's just the reality.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Any parting words? I mean, we're once again glad to have you just share your opinions and thoughts. It was great to have you as a student, albeit for a short few months. It was a great few months. And best of luck. I understand you're going to law school, and then after that, it's still TBD as to where Ryan goes next.
Yes. No, but hey, thanks for everyone watching, and best of luck. If you're in the Universal family, you're in the right place. Joey and Matt do an incredible job to support and prepare you. So that's all I can say.
That. We always work, we try to work just as hard as every other candidate out there. And, we're a small team at the moment, but as we continue to grow and expand our content and our resources, we hope to have more and more students every day and, achieve the same success. I mean, maybe the reality is you don't need to get an average of a 95.75. You just need to get a 75. And 5 years from now, nobody's ever going to ask you, Ryan, but at least have something to point towards. But everybody else, take the license and
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
All right, so thanks again, Ryan, and best of luck in your career.
Great, thank you.